Of La Penta. This is WICR.
All right, Iona, welcome back. We're in the last segment of the day here. A quick show today, always 4 to 5. We're sorry that we missed you last week, but, we'll try and get you back at you with these sports shows every week. So, we're going to get into the NHL now, where we have tonight the New Jersey Devils taking on our New York Rangers in here. As we said before, we're Iona College, campus on New York. So we're all New York sports in here. So tonight the Devils will be home. That game will be played at 7 p.m. And we have the Rangers, who are currently 3-3 right now. So, as we go into this game, G, what can we expect? Anything big that we can look at? Whenever we see New York versus New Jersey, this is a rival game, in my opinion. So what can we see going into this game?
All right, well, definitely it's a rival, Vin. You're definitely right about that. It's going to be an intense atmosphere down there in New Jersey. It's always going to be that between these two teams, even when they come to MSG. So you're going to see a hard-fought game. You're probably going to see some hits. You might see some fights. You never know. It's hockey, but definitely when a rival plays each other, they like to, get a little fancy. And
Only reason I watch it.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
The fights.
Sometimes it's entertaining. You got to be honest. But if you want to just let me recap some stuff that's been going on, the Devils have looked decent at the start, and the Rangers were struggling up till their last few games. When you look at it, they started with a win over the Blues, which was it wasn't that convincing of a win. They started off, had two good periods, and then in the third period, the Blues scored a few, but the Rangers were they managed to get a 3-2 win. And then their next three, they lost. They lost against the Islanders. They got really blown. It was 6-3, but it was worse than you would imagine if you didn't see the game. They lost to Columbus and I believe the Maple Leafs as well. And they let up a lot of goals. The defense was pretty bad. And I'll let you talk about that in a second. I'm just gonna mention some other things. You can't let up 5 and 6 goals in 3 games straight. They had 5-2 loss, I think, and then 6-3 losses back to back before they won against the Sharks and won in a shootout the other day as well. So they got their record back to 500, and it's good because they shut out the Sharks, so they needed that for sure because their defense is struggling. But it's going to be a big game, and I think the Rangers really need to win it, especially because we're the fans. We're going for the Rangers, but they really need to win it if they want to establish a good streak. But I'll pass it off to you to let you talk about some defensive struggles you've seen. Some players missing, things like that.
Yeah, well, the first thing I want to say is how I've seen Lundqvist definitely step up in the past couple of games.
Yeah, for sure.
With his saves and everything, and as we said in the beginning, it wasn't looking as good. And overall for the beginning of the season, as you said, that defense before, I'm gonna touch on that for a second. This defense, if it stays healthy, I think they can definitely be a factor. Come down the line. This is they have a huge loss right now with Boyle, their veteran on the defense here, and he's just, that's a big loss for them, and they need to capitalize, and they need to see what they could do with their defense now without him and adjust. Also, with McDonough and Girardi, they've been slow the first couple games, and they need to pick it up right now. This is, if they're going to continue to play the way that they've been playing, it may not look like it's a good season, but right now, on a 3-game winning streak, we'll see what they can do, keep going further, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, Boyle is a newcomer on the team, but he's a veteran, and like you mentioned, a veteran is always someone you need on the defense to help you. So I think that's a big portion for sure that they need to step up. But like you said, if their captain McDonough can step it up a little bit more, just like they did the last few wins with Girardi, they'll be fine. Because when I look at it, I watch hockey a lot, and I follow the Rangers mostly than anything. But their offense is great. Rick Nash right now is off to a amazing start. He has 7 goals in the first few games of the season. Marty St. Louis making assists left and right, so he's doing well as well. We have Carl Hagelin, who's a speedster. We also have Chris Kreider, who's always been a speedster. He's a good player for them, so we're gonna see where that comes from as the season keeps going on. And we'll talk about that as well. And then I'm just gonna mention real quick, the Islanders are off to a good start this season. They're a team that usually aren't, off to a good start, but they're 4-1 right now. So, New York has a lot of competition. The tri-state area, we have New Jersey, New York, and New York. So, we're gonna have to see how it goes as the season goes on. But like you said, the defense, as long as they can bounce back, I'm sure the Rangers will bounce back.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that tonight. That game also, again, that's 7 p.m. So now for the last segment of the day, the last topic of the day, we got soccer. As I said, past couple weeks, I've been trying to get into it. And, I've started to get into it pretty well. There's a game that just ended a couple minutes ago. We got a shocking alert here with Gio the G-Shocker that can inform us about it. So I'm going to let him take over because Roma was just playing. They just finished a little while ago, so I'm going to let him let us know what happened with that.
Yeah. We have a lot of Champions League action, and we're just going to focus on this game before all the other games real quick. Bayern Munich and Roma. Roma second place in the Serie A. They're a good team. They got smacked 7-1. They really did get blown out in this game. I really did not see this coming. I didn't think Roma would win, but I just felt like it would be so much of a closer game. 7-1. We had so many goals from so many different players. Robin had a brace in this one. He had 2 goals. We had Muller scoring a goal. We had Götze and Lewandowski scoring a goal. Ribery came in and Shaqiri came in. They also scored a goal. So Roma was just blown out of the water here, and I don't know why. Because obviously we were in here, we weren't able to see it. But as we were talking, I just let you know, 7-1 is a big result. I'm just gonna go over some other games for the soccer segment before I go into the Italian league. But I'm gonna let Vinny just say something real quick.
Yeah. I've been trying to follow this whole soccer thing, and from what I've been watching and from what Gio's told me, he knows a lot about the soccer. Roma being in second place in Italy, and they were losing, by 5 goals just in the first half alone.
Yeah, that's a huge shock. You don't expect that. So.
Right. So, I didn't expect that, and now the standings. What are they called? Are they called standings?
Champions League is a different tournament right now. That shifted the results for a little bit because now you have Bayern at the head. Obviously, they're leading the group now with Roma behind them. So
significant change in the group now because of this game.
Exactly.
And so we'll keep you covered though. He has more on the championship league.
Yeah. So Champions League, we had some other big results. Moscow actually came back and tied against Manchester City earlier today. Obviously in Europe it's late, but earlier today they tied 2-2. Man City was up 2-0, and then Moscow came back. They got a late penalty, and they evened the game up, and they stole a point from Manchester City, who obviously is the huge favorite in that matchup. We had Paris Saint-Germain win 1-0 today on a Cavani goal. If I'm not mistaken, Cavani scored in the 87th minute. But the team they faced, I'm not going to pronounce it or butcher their name, but they should have blown them out of the water, and they didn't. So it's a little worry there, but they still got the 3 points. That's all that matters. Barcelona and Ajax. Barcelona winning 3-1. Not really a problem there. We had Shakhtar Donetsk play today. They won 7-0 against their opponent. So many goals on this Champions League Tuesday right now. That's a final score, 7-0. A lot of people saw that coming, but not 7. They saw Shakhtar winning. Chelsea against Maribor. My friend Uka actually said before 6-0 was going to be the score, and it actually was 6-0. Remy scored. Drogba scored, and Costa being out, they needed some production, and they got it from their offense. And Hazard also had a few goals. The captain, the old skipper John Terry also had had a goal. And then we have Porto winning against Bilbao, who Bilbao got in because they beat Napoli, my team, and they've been playing terribly, and they lost again. And then Schalke actually came back against Sporting Lisbon and won 4-3. So that's your Champions League news. But before we end the show and, the soccer segment and all of that, I just want to talk about the Serie A real quick because I know the focus of a lot of shows are usually the Premier League and the Spanish League. The Italian League doesn't really get attention. So I just want to talk about the games over the weekend and what the tables are looking like. Saturday, we had Roma beat Chievo 3-0. Roma, we just said they lost 7-1, but in their league, they're very good in the standings right now. They're second place, only a point behind. They dominated Chievo. There was nothing to worry about there. 3-0 in the first half, and it ended that way. A little bit of a shock was Sassuolo and Juventus this weekend, who tied 1-1, actually. Sassuolo was able to pull off a point. That's a huge thing for them. I mean, they're low in the standings. I think they're in the bottom 4. But stealing a point from Juventus is like winning a game for them. It's a huge, huge accomplishment. And it helped Roma get back into the race. Now they're only a point behind. Some Sunday games that we saw. Lazio beat Fiorentina 2-0. Fiorentina's been so inconsistent this year. Atalanta won 1-0 against Parma. We had Cagliari and Sampdoria. Sampdoria has been shocking me. the past few weeks. I keep saying they're going to start losing, but they haven't. They really haven't started losing yet. They pulled off a draw, 2-2 draw. Palermo got a win that they needed. You know, they've been newly promoted this year, and they haven't really been doing well. They've been struggling, but they got a 2-1 win over Cesena. We had Torino over Udinese. Udinese is starting to fall a little bit, starting to play a little bit down to the level that most people are used to seeing them, you know, as bad as that sounds. But Torino got a win over them. Verona and Milan, AC Milan being, Milan won 3-1. Honda's been playing good for them, so, I mean, there's not really much to say there. Milan was favored. And then the main game that we saw this weekend, Inter versus Napoli, a huge game for both teams because they needed a win to get back into the race a little bit because they were falling back. And it ended up being a 2-2 draw. It was a lot of late drama. Jose Callejon putting Napoli up late in the game, and then Inter coming back right away, literally 3 minutes after, and tying the game with Guarin coming in. He came in and scored a goal. Then Callejon again, before stoppage time, scores a wonderful volley, makes it 2-1, and then 30 seconds later we have, I believe it was Hernandez scoring a header. And it just shows Napoli's defense is so bad. They're so inconsistent, and I don't know what to say. A 2-2 draw. They should have won the game. They had 2 leads, and they blew it both times. So it's something we've seen, a trend we've seen going on this year. And then yesterday we had Genoa-Empoli 1-1. So just a quick, standings. Juventus is still first with 19 points. We have Roma in second with 18, Sampdoria in third with 15, which is kind of a shock. And then, like I mentioned, the past few weeks, from 7th place where Napoli is, or even all the way down to 9th where Inter is, and Milan. Milan is in 4th with 14, and then you go down to 9th place with Inter, and they're with 9. So it's literally a 5-point range. If they win some games and some teams loses, Napoli, Inter, Lazio, they can be all the way up into 3rd or 4th place. So it's really not much of a difference there. It's just the top 2 teams, they're going to end up pulling away a little bit. So we'll see where it goes. There's going to be action this weekend, and obviously we'll report on it next week. And some scores, Callejon, Honda, and Tevez are all in the lead for the top scorer in the Serie A. They all have 6. So it's nice to see a Napoli player, especially for me up there. But a lot of scores, a lot of high-scoring games this week in football all around the world. Like today in the Champions League, so many high-scoring games. So that's all your news for soccer. I'll throw it off to Vinny to end the show.
Yeah, so there you go, guys. Gio got you all covered with all the soccer, and that'll continue on, and we'll keep keeping you covered with all of that. So that'll do it for another show here. We'll be back next week again, Tuesday, same time, 4 to 5 p.m., VG Sports Hub. As we said before, try to keep following us on those social sites. That'll really be greatly appreciated. We're going to try and start doing other things like have call-ins and text-ins on what you guys are feeling, and, maybe we'll try and get you guys on the show. If you guys ever want to be a guest on the show, just let me or Gio know. If you see us on campus or email or shoot us a text, whatever it is, we'll love to have you guys on here. We want to hear what you guys want to hear. Same thing. We're all fans. So
yeah, Vinny, let me just say something real quick.
Yeah,
also, I know last week there was a schedule change again, so I wasn't sure when the videos were being uploaded. That's why we haven't put anything on the YouTube channel yet. That whole scheduling conflict kind of threw us off a little bit for another week, but I promise by the end of this weekend, by around Saturday or Sunday or so, I'll have these 3 segments up on our YouTube page at youtube.com VG Sports Hub. So if you guys want to subscribe there, go look at it. We'll take them from Iona and put on our own, so this way we can get our own little thing going. So just to make sure about that. So, yeah, Vinny, I'll toss it over to you.
Yeah. All right, guys. So just try and keep doing that for us. We'll appreciate it. And as we said, as the show continues to go on, we'll continue to grow with our, little activities in between and what we can do to make the show even better. And also, feedback. Any feedback you guys ever want to give us, just let us know. That'll be greatly appreciated. Good or bad. We just want to know how we sound to you guys, and we'll appreciate it. So, that'll do everything for tonight. Don't forget, a big night in sports. The World Series starting tonight, 8:07 on Fox 5. And the Rangers taking on the Devils at 7. So, have a good night with everything with that, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you.